Good morning. What I want to talk about this morning is CrossFit. And my story is that back in 2013, I was 120 pounds heavier than I am now. And I remember I was on a camping trip with some buddies, and one of them mentioned, hey, my wife has been doing this CrossFit thing. And I had heard about it, but didn't really have any sense as to what it was. And I had been learning at that time from Chad Waterbury through a site called T Nation. And Chad's a smart dude. The things that I really learned from him were things like how to recruit all the muscle fibers, both slow twitch and fast twitch, and I'm kind of a nerd like that. I like to know the mechanism of things. Boiling it down, Chad also said, just lift heavy stuff fast. And I was like, okay, well, that is a statement that's pretty easy to understand and feels horrible when you do it. And that's basically what CrossFit was to me at that time. Okay, well, it looks like they lift heavy stuff fast, so I'll go ahead and give it a shot. And what I wasn't prepared for were all of the other things that CrossFit offered that were in a lot of ways more important for me losing the 120 pounds. And the community aspect was something that I didn't expect I would want or care about as much as I did. And the friendships and the connections and just the shared suffering was something that I had never really experienced in my life. I played a little bit of team sports, but I was by no means a jock. I remember the very first kickoff of freshman football as a De Anza Don. I was like, okay, here we go. I went through the whole summer of training, and I went, okay, let's go, kickoff. And I got hit so hard that I saw stars on the very first play of the game. And that was it. I was like, oh, okay. I'm going to keep playing my guitar. So very early on, I realized that sports like that weren't, although I love football now, watching it and watching other people get hit so hard they see stars, it just wasn't my thing. I rode bikes. I always loved riding bikes. But it wasn't enough. So, getting back to my concerns about where CrossFit is today, at the time, CrossFit, you have to understand the context. When CrossFit emerged, it emerged in a context where everybody was doing bodybuilding style workouts on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and they were doing cardio on Tuesday and Thursday. And that was the way that people thought, and all of the magazines taught, led to fitness. And fitness was not even a defined term. And so I thought, okay, well, I see these ripped guys in these magazines doing this, so apparently this is the way that you get there. And what resonated with me when I first started to learn about CrossFit, I started going to the CrossFit site after I had joined CrossFit Laverne in 2013. I recognized that there's way more depth intellectually to what's going on here. And previously, when I had tried to read about fitness and try to understand, the mechanisms, there were really only two bodies of work that I kept coming across. One was the long, slow distance endurance stuff that was all about VO2 max and, tapered training and all of this stuff that I really was never into. And then there was the bodybuilding, and it was like, okay, drop sets and, how to maximize hypertrophy through eccentric movement. And that stuff was interesting, but I also never really got results from it. And probably because I wasn't doing it right, because I wasn't motivated to do it right. And when it came to CrossFit, it all made sense. Greg Glassman just said, hey guys, first of all, can we just define the term? Can we start there? And that resonated with me. I'm like, okay, well, if we're going to actually talk about something, we have to make sure that it's well defined. And I liked that a lot. I liked that work capacity across broad time and modal domains was something that was observable, measurable, and repeatable. So the other thing that they defined is they defined their brand name. Well, what is CrossFit? Well, in order to achieve a high work capacity across broad time and modal domains, fitness, what you need to do is constantly varied, high intensity, functional movement. Okay. Constantly varied. Well, different stuff all the time. Short duration stuff, long duration stuff, heavy stuff, light stuff, gymnastics stuff, weightlifting stuff, strongman stuff, whatever it is. As broad as you can get it. High intensity. Okay. So that sounds to me like lift heavy stuff fast. Okay. Functional movement. Oh yeah, that's right. Chad Waterbury also talked about multi-joint exercises. And he wasn't really into dumbbell curls and tricep extensions and all the stuff that was all the rage before CrossFit came on the scene. said, okay, this is all sort of lining up with what I had learned from Chad Waterbury. Now, I have a feeling, and Chad, if you ever hear this, please correct me, like call me out if I'm wrong. But I have a sense that maybe Chad knew that about Greg Glassman and just didn't sort of reveal that. Maybe I'm totally wrong, but they just seem so similar. And it may also be that there was this whole industry that Chad knew about, that Greg Glassman knew about, and all of the tips of the spear knew about, that had finally converged. I don't know. That's just conjecture, and I don't want to disparage Chad because, I may not be 120 pounds lighter if it were not because of the knowledge from his book Huge in a Hurry and all of his stuff on T Nation. So thank you, Chad. But I now see something happening, and I see the tip of the spear of CrossFit starting to dull. And here's what it looks like. Things don't change overnight, and people don't just wake up one morning and go, oh, all that stuff we were doing was wrong. Okay. Here's how it's beginning to manifest. And this isn't just in one gym. I'm seeing this across the board. I'm seeing it on social media. I'm seeing it in gyms boxes that I drop into. Number one, I'm seeing machines start to creep back into the gyms. Lat pull-down machines, those things that I ran away from are starting to come back. And I'm starting to see them again. I'm also starting to see I'm starting to see programming with fewer squat cleans. I haven't seen an overhead squat in a while. I'm starting to see fewer benchmark workouts being programmed. Can't remember the last time I did Fran. And I'm starting to see less practice, less skill development. Although the coaching is still at an insanely high level, I'm just starting to see the edge get nicked off of it. And when I first started CrossFit, it was, I don't know what the percentage was, but I would say 50% of the class was ex-mil or law enforcement. And as a civilian with no Leo background, I felt like I was in good company. I was like, man, if these guys whose lives depend on this are doing this, I know I'm in the right place. And I'm seeing less and less of that. And it's starting to make me wonder, all right, well, where's the military community going now? Because I want to follow them. Because they know what is necessary in order to protect their own lives and in order to execute in volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous environments. And I think that when someone's life depends on their training, they don't really pay attention to bullshit that doesn't work. There's only one thing, there's only one criteria that matters. Does it protect my life? And so there's a certain forcing function there. There's a way that just weeds out the Bosu ball workouts and all the other stuff. No, sorry, I'm not disparaging Bosu ball work. If you do that, keep doing it, because the best fitness for you is the one that you do. So just want to be clear. So I'm starting to see the tip of the spear dull. And here's what I know. I know that the human physiology hasn't changed in the last 10 years. And I'm pretty darn confident that it won't change for another 100. So 100 years from now, whatever workouts people are doing, it's going to look a whole lot like CrossFit if it's effective. The fittest people on Earth or Mars or wherever we're at in 2124, you're going to find that thrusters, burpees, pull-ups, squat cleans, overhead squats, snatches, all of that stuff that leverages the full human anatomy are going to be the things that are going to create the most metabolic distress, which is going to produce the most powerful results. I would encourage you, if you are a CrossFitter, to continue to pursue the hard thing, to continue to embrace the suck, to reread Greg Glassman's What is Fitness, and reignite the roots of CrossFit. Because we could lose it. Nothing's guaranteed. The only thing that keeps CrossFit as a methodology going is people embracing the methodology and understanding what its real implementation is. And for those who might be a little younger, who've sort of grown up with CrossFit, I want you to know that it hasn't always been like this. And I want you to know that it can be lost, that it can become something that is a watered-down version of the incredibly effective thing that it has been for the last 20 years. Or more. I mean, I think Greg Glassman was probably training like this 10 years before CrossFit even became a brand. So this is not new in any way, shape, or form. And even he says, like, I didn't invent the squat. Like, I have this image in one of the talks that I give, and it's a baby just doing this beautiful, full depth squat, heels on the ground, beautiful lumbar curve, and it's just this reminder that this stuff, as Greg says, is built into our DNA. We, you know, and it's rehab. CrossFit is rehabilitating our ability to engage in these functional movements that have always been there. And anything that is not doing movements that we could do, like climbing trees and swinging on rings, and I don't know if people even do that anymore, if it's too dangerous. But there are things that the human body just was really built to do. And we need to get back to that. We need to stay committed to it and not let the machines in. Lifting external objects is way more functional than a lat pull down machine. I'm sorry. It's not going in the right direction. It's not improving on the current methods that are laid out in What is Fitness. I encourage you to go back and read that. So thank you for listening, and I hope that this, maybe someone from CrossFit Inc. is listening to this, and I want you guys to be stewards of the brand in a way that that protects it, because it's not just a business for you to exploit. For me personally, it saved my life. And pre-diabetic, I was 120 pounds heavier, and all that shit is gone. And it's because of what Greg Glassman put forward. And I recently heard on a Savon podcast that he still owns all of the intellectual property. So I don't quite know how that relationship works with CrossFit, but that's pretty awesome. And that actually gave me a lot of hope that if Greg's got his IP, then something new can emerge. Because I don't have confidence that CrossFit, the brand, is going to protect. I don't think they even understand the value of what they have. And so, obviously, if you don't know the value of what you've got, you're not going to protect it. And be like, oh, that's just a piece of coal. Let's try to, part it off and sell it. Or, we'll take that piece of coal and we'll wrap it in a bow and see if we can sell it for a profit. But really what it is a big old diamond sitting right in the middle of it. Well, thank you.